Gonna go straight into the Dire versus Digital Chaos. So this is the other group. I kind of made this executive decision because I know a lot of people want to be able to watch the Dire, but I personally felt like VGJ versus Immortals was the closest of the first round matches, and it would probably be the most entertaining, which I would say from game number 1 kind of proved to be true. But we still want to watch the Dire, and we especially want to watch the Dire against the other top dog of NA right now, which is Digital Chaos.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that last series, to be honest, because I haven't got a chance to see Immortals play at all, but they looked very promising. They have the kind of the same sort of play style that they did before, hyper aggression, just run at you all the time, try to win the game really fast. I liked it, and BTJ had some really cool ideas as well. I was pretty happy. I think you made the right choice, Cap.
Thank you, Draskell. See, I've got Draskell's validation. That's the only validation I need, chat.
Oh no. It's happening again.
Now, there's no Necrophos this time around. That was banned out by PBD as well as the Abed Meepo. Digital Chaos banned away the Ancient Apparition as well as the Lich. Ancient Apparition's definitely been seeing a lot of love lately. Spirit Breaker Darkseer duo is what Moon Meander chooses to open with.
Are we sure we're still not watching Immortals play? Because I feel like this is something that they would definitely draft. But no, I'm a huge fan of the SP. I love that hero against Venomancer. It's very hard for a lot of heroes to just say, I'm going to commit to killing this Veno, because, you know, you get Galed, and then you don't feel justified going for that kill anymore. But SP with an Ion Shell is just like, dude, I'm in there. Like, I'm getting that kill.
All those Blink heroes, you know, you try and get into a position, and all of a sudden you're scouted out by a ward, and you get pinged, and you're like, well, there goes that gank, you know? But Spirit Breaker, he don't give a damn how many wards you lay down. He's charging right through all of them into your face. And as you said, if he has the Iron Shell, should be pretty easy to get that damage. I also really like Darkseer as an idea against Venomancer. I've seen it once or twice where because the Darkseer pushes out waves constantly with his Ion Shell spam, it's very hard for the Venomancer to do kind of the same thing, right? Like normally you set up with your wards, you're pressuring towers and stuff, like you're just supposed to kind of be in the enemy's face, but Darkseer doesn't really let you do that because his Ion Shell pushes are just better than your wards.
Yeah, I really like the DS versus Veno matchup. I've also been a really big fan of AM versus Veno in the past. Obviously, in the early game, the Veno has a really big advantage, but then later on, it's you don't really do anything to the AM at all. But yeah. Good opening here from DC. No real like clear direction as to what path either team is going to take right now, and this is actually the first time I will have seen the Dire play, so I am excited.
5 seconds remaining.
See,
still waiting for the tree pick cap.
The tree and protector.
Oh, I think that PPD just only plays that hero, right? Like that and Lich. Oh, Lich is banned, I guess.
Yeah, so no Lich, so it must be a tree. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, dude. I just like giving him crap. It's just fun.
Our bans Nyx Assassin and Bat Rider, which I feel like Bat Rider would have been the right kind of initiation to be able to set up Earth Spirit and Venomancer. So I really like that ban. Nyx Assassin for me is kind of okay. I think he's just probably one of the better 4 positions, but the Broodmother ban. And Digital Chaos will go for Disruptor as their 5 position. Nice AoE silence that if they do get the jump on the Venomancer in some way, you won't let him get that ultimate off, right? I think that's one of the most important things. If you initiate on a Venomancer, you have to make sure he does not get his ultimate off, because even if you kill him, the damage is already done, and the enemy team could fight potentially 4 versus 5 and wipe you because you have that sticky icky on you.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's also a tremendous amount of synergy between the SP and the Disruptor. You know, SP is a vision-giving hero, and I think a lot of the time you want at least one person on your team who's going to be like, okay, you know, it used to be Bounty Hunter and Disruptor, and then it was SP and Disruptor, and I guess anything really that lets you see and get that glimpse off is going to be huge. Being able to find, like, kill after kill. They have so much early fighting potential on both sides. Like, having the Oracle to purge the Ion Shell and the Surge and whatnot, but then, you know, SP charging in, you have Sven Stun, Glimpse. There's going to be a lot of battling going on this game.
I've noticed this about Mood Meander. He seems to have a hero in mind, and he doesn't give a damn what you pick. Have you seen this? Like, when he's drafting, it's just like, a hero goes up and he just like instantly picks his hero anyway. Like I can't, like in the first opening like pick, you can probably be able to understand like, okay, Lich's first pick here, we already know what we're going. But like I can't see him knowing that Oracle is going to be the pickup, but he goes for Sven no matter what. It seems like from a drafting perspective, maybe he has that philosophy, you know, where he's like, we focus more on our own drafts rather than trying to counter what the enemy's doing.
Yeah, but I mean, even look at the bans. When I see a pick that fast, I think it just shows confidence in the actual pick itself, not just he came into the game with a plan. Because there's no Frost Armor, there's no Bat Rider Lasso, there's no Rupture, there's no Necrophos. So Sven doesn't have to buy the Fusel Blade this game. He doesn't have to worry about like a lot of the BKB piercing lockdowns that you would normally see. Sure, Dire pick up a Medusa now, but even still, I would say that the Sven, it's still a solid hero in this game. It's not going to be able to just have free reign over the fights anymore because of the Medusa pickup, but it's very hard for them to kill that hero as well.
Yeah, I think most of the time when we see Dusa, it's to counterpick a Chaos Knight, but it may not have the illusion clearing power counter that, but it's still like kind of a pretty good counter to Sven, right?
Yeah, I think Medusa's all right. Here's the thing that I'm like 50-50 on it. Stone Gaze is fantastic against Sven, no question. But you just don't really do that much damage because he Warcries everyone. And then you're just kind of like, you know, you're shooting feathers at people. It's not like the strongest of damage outputs, but I guess they're looking for something else with their last pick. I suppose it's either going to be, it has to be mid or off lane, or I guess Medusa can still mid. And they could offlane the Veno and pick another safe lane, now that I think about it. Yeah, they're still pretty flexible on their picks. All right, here we go. It's the puck.
So is this offlane Venomancer and CCNC puck, I'm presuming? I kind of like this.
I wonder if they actually, do you think they go aggro?
Yeah. I
think it's possible.
Yeah.
Because
I think
ES
it's very
Oracle
hard.
is actually really strong kill potential.
Death Prophet is the last pickup for Digital Chaos versus that puck. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling... I like Digital Chaos's lineup a little bit more just because it seems very straightforward in that regard. And I feel like the Death Prophet definitely puts Dire in kind of an awkward spot where this Death Prophet is going to be taking objectives and forcing fights in so many ways. And you may not have the power to be able to deal with it 4 versus 5, right? And that's kind of what some of these early fights are going to be when Dusa just doesn't give you any damage.
Yeah, they're relying very heavily on Magic Burst for the first, like, let's say 25-30 minute window. That's going to be the majority of their kill potential. And if they don't really kind of get that kill early on in the fight, I can definitely see DC walking away with it just due to the sustained damage of like Exorcism. They have a natural pipe and a mech carrier on MSS with a Darkseer. It's like you mentioned, the way they play the game is just simple. You know, it's strong and it's very easy to execute. And a lot of the time that can win you the game just straight up.
Yeah. You know, if we switch around these heroes, Death Prophet on Dire, Puck on Digital Chaos, we'd actually have a full blue on blue and green on green lineup.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Interesting strategical analysis from Capitalist back to Draskell.
That's why you're 7K.
I just look at the color palette of our heroes, and that's how I decide what I pick, Draskell. That's what I do in my pubs.
Whatever is most aesthetically pleasing, I pick those heroes.
And it all just kind of, you know, it gets a certain what's that Chinese word for like the feel of the room and how it feels like
feng shui.
Feng shui, thank you. You know, you got to get the feng shui right for the game, Draskell, and everything will go good and you'll get your plus 25.
I mean, I wish it was that easy to win Dota. My God, life's hard.
All right,
no,
so
I'm with you. I like DC's draft. I think that Dire, depending on how they lane, their lanes I think are going to be a tiny bit better, because I think Veno just is Veno and he's going to exist and he's going to do well and or win his lane. I think ES plus, you know, Puck Coil later on when the hero finally hits 6 is going to offer up a lot of kills. It is the Zai Puck though, so it's going to take a little while for them to really start to get going. I guess it's kind of like the pseudo 4 protect one, whereas I guess you could say DC have a dual core.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm not too good on the 1v1 mids, but I'm pretty sure Puck gets dumpstered by Death Prophet, right?
He doesn't have a great time.
Yeah.
You have to play very safe. And a lot of the time, when Puck has to play safe, you kind of consider yourself losing that matchup because you're not abusing things like phase shift and being able to like trade effectively with the enemy mid because, you know, Spirit Siphon is stupid ability.
Right. And then I think it's also kind of hard to dodge Carrion Swarm, right? Or
it's not too bad. It's like dodging Dragon Slave against Lina. If you can dodge, you can dodge Dragon Slave, you can dodge Crypt Swarm.
So how do you kind of see these lanes playing out? We've got the Darkseer, Spirit Breaker, but they're going into a Dusa lineup, a ranged carry. So I don't really feel like the pressure that they wanted out of laning phase, out of their dual offlane, is going to be there. So does he go mid? Does like the Spirit Breaker put more focus on mid? But then it's a Venomancer. It's very hard hero to actually successfully gank.
I don't think you look at the Veno this game, honestly. It's so hard to kill that thing.
Yeah. And you can't put
like
all
the
your
SD
attention
lands
on
the
Puck
charge,
either.
but you know what happens if you land the charge and you're like under the tower and he has a Gale? You're just like, if I don't have a follow up, you're just dead pretty much. I think a lot of the premise of the lineup when they opened with it on DC is that they always wanted the SB to pretty much have Ion Shell. Like that's the big bonus for having that hero is that you get the bonus damage even if you're not landing attacks. You just follow him. You know, you get the kill that way. But you're not always going to have the Ion Shell if you're playing like across the map Dota, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, a successful block there for Abed. Does get the creep wave on his side of things. We've already seen Zai suffering from the Thunderstrike, and with Bulba up here in the top lane, it's going to be even worse for Zai. Hopefully he won't die to this, but he's certainly not going to be getting easy experience anytime soon, while our offlaner in MSS is also going to be having a difficult time because he's dealing with the Oracle counter. He's got a Purge from Fortune's End to be able to remove Ion Shell. It's also a way to be able to deal with to Surge Escape as well. So there's a lot of ways that Oracle does counter this laning phase for Digital
It is
Chaos.
important to note, though, that, you know, unlike MSS, who can just go to the jungle, Zai can't do that.
He's going to be charged once again. Spirit Breaker just going to run at him? No, he decides to.
Oh my god, and our courier died.
Courier. Rough
Where did the
times.
courier die? I'm so confused.
Right there in the mid. Like right there on top of the high ground area next to CCNC.
Miscontrol, I guess?
It had to be. Because I thought for a second it was Dire Courier just because I saw Misery around mid lane, but
yeah, that's why I was really confused. I was like, wait a minute, how did it? Yeah, it had to just been Miss Micro. Weird. Okay, so definitely a good start for our boys DC. The courier dying. I mean, for a lot of heroes, that would kind of just be the end of the mid lane because you have like 2 minutes where you can't access bottle, can't access regen, but it's Veno, so he'll actually still be all right.
You lied to us, Straskell. You said MSS could go jungle, but apparently not when 2 supports start occupying the jungle. MSS just not having a great time.
Trap, though, right? Is you walk to the obvious camp. If you walk to the obvious camp, they're going to follow you. Sometimes you just have to buy the TP scroll like he has right now and just walk all the way back to your side. You know, he's going to walk here, but this is the place where the supports are always going to go first.
Right.
They didn't block his camps, but they did, like, they have vision of him doing it, so.
You know, he's looking at that camp. He's looking at that camp and going like, I've already done some damage to it. Like, I got to go for it again.
I mean, Zai did get pretty lucky. He got one of the easy medium camps, so he can actually sit atop the hill and just kill it.
Yeah, and he's gotten some experience from his laning phase as well.
He's actually higher level than MSS.
Yeah.
That's not something that you would normally see.
It's one of those it's the higher risk, higher reward sort of situation for Zai, just because he's come so close to death multiple times, but he has gotten a lot more out of his laning phase. So they're going to go for the charge onto CCNC. Now the kick is going to come in for Misery, but it's not going to be enough to separate CCNC from Abed. Misery is going to be able to get a successful roll out, though, and it'll just limit the loss to 1 hero on the Dire side. Digital Chaos pick up first blood.
Yeah, really solid start for them so far. The mid lane favoring them a tiny bit. I guess maybe if you weight denies a little bit more, CCNC is technically winning. Could be a kill here. Gale lands.
Charges coming in. Spirit Siphon kick out. That's going to kill the Spirit Siphon and put him closer to CNC. That's a cute little play from Misery. It should be enough to get the kill. CNC has missed once uphill, but not enough bottle charge is going to be there. And Bulba does actually kill Misery. So this early Orb of Venom, and now Boots is able to chase down the opposing 4 position.
Being able to get the early kills and the Death Prophet delaying the 6 is going to be really, really important for them. It's just so hard to rotate to the Veno lane if you're DC. It seems to always result in, like, some mid heroes, you may get a counter kill here and there, but if it's a Veno that you're ganking, he's always going to get a counter kill, as long as the Gale lands. There's just no way you can run from it, especially with a secondary support like an Earth Spirit.
Yeah, and he's beginning to have those higher levels in the wards as well, so soon, you know, level 7, level 8, we'll start seeing the real ward spam out where he just kind of controls the whole entire wave. And kind of keeps the creep wave right in front of that tower constantly, which really limits one of the things that Death Prophet wants to do, right? Like, similar to a Dragonite, she wants to be able to push back the opposing mid hero and use that ultimate to take the opposing mid tower, but there's just not really a chance against the Venomancer most of the time.
Okay, this is a rank and gank in level 3 Darkseer, Cap. Here we go.
This is full commitment right now. They really want this kill on CNC, but they've already jumped Abed, so this could turn badly. They've already gone to CNC and started getting some Ion Shell damage, but Abed is rapidly going down as the nuke comes out from PPD. And CNC off of that level 6 is going to be able to get off the ultimate. He may die to the abuse from Bulba, but they're going to be able to get 1 kill, possibly 2. There it is, a triple kill for PPD. Who says he can only play Treant Protector? Apparently, he's going to go ahead and turn himself into a carry Oracle off of all that kill gold he just got.
He hit 6 during the gank, Cap. He got 6 in skill poison over. Oh lord! As soon as that happened, the fight was just over. Like, yeah. The unfortunate part was the heroes in the back from DC that were flanking behind the tier 1. They weren't in position like quite fast enough. So Abed's like baiting, but they weren't close enough to just go on the Venom and get the kill straight away. So the longer the fight lasted, the more likely it was that they were going to lose everyone there. Nice rotation coming in though from Dire. Did they have to name themselves Dire? That's so confusing for people watching.
Well, you know, Peter, I doubt he's going to give in to Reddit pressure.
Oh, he doesn't care.
Whatever NACL thing that they want.
Yeah, he doesn't care, but still, I say, like, Dire being on the Radiant, you know? Like,
yeah, I'm sure this is all intentional. I'm sure he literally just named this team just to screw with us. I could see it no other way for Peter, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like something he'd do.
Again, the 4 positions line up in the middle lane. Ready to try and gank that enemy mid-hero. And we're just going to end up with a nasty little clash. Zai, while hasn't gotten a whole lot of gold, is now level 5 in his offlane, so he's faring pretty well, even better than MSS, who's been relegated to full-time jungle. They do have one hell of a hard camp stack there. Fortunately, they did have a ward already in place, so as they try and come in as PBD to lay down the ward, it immediately gets countered up. And I'm sure DC is going to put a priority in trying to clear through this, but they don't have God Strength yet. This does leave an opportunity for the Dire to be able to contest this this stack.
Yeah, they look like they're up here in forest. No coil yet either on Zai, though. So unless like a roll-in lands, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to just straight up go.
We start right-clicking and orbing some of it, but...
There's a TP and Exorcism on Abed, so if they're not careful and they linger too long, there is chance for a counterplay here, especially with a hero like SP who can just like go in whenever.
Yeah. They really don't have an easy way to contest this. I mean, what if they just kind of planted Dusa in the top lane, you know, with the Mystic Snake? Is that a terrible idea? He doesn't have boots.
Well, he doesn't have boots. So, I mean, if he has boots, I'd say it's fine, but... He's gone for like the super greedy option, right? Yeah. All caution to the wind. Okay, here we go. Some team creep killing here.
CNC is here with his wards and his Gale. His wards will push back the rest of DC, and they'll get the stack all to themselves, it seems.
Oh, the DP's got a haste, Cap.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
I just saw that one. They're smoked up. Mason. Let's for the God Strength, but now they're going to feel the nasty surprise. Misery's going to be the first one caught inside of that kinetic field. The rest of the Dire on Radiant side will be okay. That trio backs up.
That was a nice move for Misery, to be honest. Running the opposite direction of his team.
Yeah.
If he didn't do that, and the DP was able to like close distance, and Moon gets like a kinetic field or a glimpse on someone else, that potentially ends up being almost worth it for DC if they get more than one kill. But because he pops Exorcism and only gets a support, I'd say overall that was a pretty big win for Dire.
Well, MSS
I thought
is
as soon as he
catching
picked up the
with that
haste. Yeah, I thought as soon as he picked up the haste, it was just going to be like 2 or 3 heroes dead.
Yeah. Oh, they've caught Abed. They should be able to burst him down. PPD comes in. Oh, man, it feels so good to play hard 5 Oracle because you know you're actually going to get gold. And there, nobody can complain about it either, right? Like, you're going to say, like, what? You want me to heal him with Purifying Flames? No, I got to finish him off.
Yeah, the Oracle is actually amazing against Death Prophet as well, because you offer a ton of burst damage from a 5 position, basically. Like, what other 5 allows you to deal, like, almost, what, like 1,000 burst damage in the course of 2 seconds or something like that when you get to level 7? Or I guess in this case you'd have to max out your fortunes then too, but no other position 5 really does that much damage.
Pycat's doing great. He's just chilling out against the Darkseer. A ranged carry versus the Ion Shell, especially with this Hand of Midas. He's having an easy time farming. He's currently top net worth, especially since our Sven wasn't able to take that stack that he had earlier.
Yeah, both teams just trying to posture and get whatever they can out of the map. It's kind of funny because they both have like one super greedy hero, but the difference is we're going to see Bulba potentially die here.
Ooh. Misses the roll in, ends up going onto Abed. Oh no. That TP's going to be stopping the charge. Bulba does end up going down though. PPD was able to finish him off just barely. The final right.
It's a nice sidestep though.
Yeah. You could see the power of the Venomancer versus this Death Prop though. His wave is always at his tower. He just doesn't get to do the Death Prophet things that he wants to. Even if he can't take that mid tower, you would at least see Death Prophets move to other lanes and try and take those towers. But if he leaves the lane, then it's just gonna, his mid tower is gonna go away so fast.
Yeah, that's, I mean, both mid laners pretty much suffer from that same thing, right? Whoever rotates, if the other one stays, they kill the tower.
Yeah.
That's just like how life is for both teams. And I think that CCNC is probably more comfortable sitting mid than Abed. Because CCNC is like, he's just a piece to keep his towers alive, right? In that puzzle of getting the Medusa farm. All he really needs to do is make sure that tier 1s don't die.
Charge on a Pycat. He does not have his ultimate, so there's no easy escape out of this one. They throw down the Static Storm. That's going to be able to stop some of the incoming damage from Zai as well, but Pycat's still alive, and now they're actually in some serious trouble. Pycat barely gets away from Mason in time, locked inside the coil, now with a Venomancer here as well. They pop the coil at the last second. He gets the surge and starts running himself away, but he's still taking that poison damage. Now, fortunately, the Gale isn't a very high level, so it's not going to be enough to finish him off, it looks like. So
really nice reaction again. HP. Yeah, I'm surprised he was able to walk away from that with no Stone Gaze. Like, looking at DC's lineup, I would imagine him of, you know, getting it at like level 8 or 9 maybe. You know, max your Snake, get your Mana Shield, level 9 you skill it, but he just like, nope, don't need it, man. I'm fine. Medusa here.
Charge on to Misery with an Ion Shell. Now, Bulba's only level 4, but he does manage to stay in front of that push. Misery doesn't have a kick, unfortunately, so can't get Bulba away from him. Some much-needed experience being given to our 4 position. I was informed just now by Blaze. Apparently, it's Quinn's fault that they're named the Dire. So I apologize to PPD for maligning his character in such a way. CCNC is the dirty bastard who chose their team name.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I just mean for like people who might not be like super into Dota and they only know like the side names and they're like, wait, why are they saying the Dire is Radiant? I'm so confused. Those are the people that I'm campaigning for, Cap.
Jaskal, even I was confused in a second when you said like something like that fight ended up pretty well for the Dire. I was like, wait, does he mean the Dire or does he mean Dire's side?
Yeah, no, I feel you, but we'll yell at him for it. We'll make some Twitter posts. Maybe there will be a Reddit thread, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Somebody
make a Reddit thread about CCNC. You guys haven't done that in a while.
That's true. Very, very true.
You guys are
and plus, you know, people are
bit.
saying there's no patch for a long time, so we need something on Reddit to keep us entertained.
That's true.
It's your job now.
Ooh, the Blade Mail build from Pycat. Going for the old Eternal Envy suggested build.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Medusas really skip Blade Mail anymore. They seem to always get it nowadays.
EE
It does kind
was
of give you
ahead of his
everything you
time.
want, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It's armor, so like mitigation works really well when you have stuff like Mana Shield, because it just increases your effective HP versus physical damage by a truckload, gives you mana, gives you damage. What else do you need?
And the damage, yeah. I think the damage from Blade Mail is kind of like underestimated. Just because of the fact that most Blade Mail heroes, obviously, like damage they don't really care too much about. Like Axe, for example.
Well, you telling me you don't get that 75 damage at level 15? Come on, dude. That's like 97
Only if I'm
damage
stomping.
with a Blade
Only
Mail
if
on.
I'm stomping. Moon Meander's going to be gone on here, but he actually baits him into the Static Storm. Oh no, this is looking pretty nasty. PPD ran forward to try and finish up the kill, but now he doesn't have the saving grace for the Venomancer. Now they do manage to get the kill, and Mizer's going to follow this up with all that poison damage. Can they actually get more? Zai's going to come in, hits the orb on a couple, silence on the backline heroes, and they're taking so much stone damage, they could actually all die here. Gets more in. Bulba's going to take down Mason. Oh, Mason, he's dead as well. A triple kill for Misery. Sakudata, 11-8. The Dire pick up a huge team fight in the mid lane, and will also take that mid-tier 1 tower.
Dire's top tower is under
Poison Nova Magnetized, boys. That is some serious damage output. That's why you really, really hope that your Darkseer had the mech finish, you know what I mean? Or like a pipe or something to be able to mitigate that damage, but they just don't have it yet. Moon looks like he'll be okay, walks away here. They do end up getting the tower kill though. So Dire's still looking to be in a pretty alright position. And I mean the Dire, not DC as in the Dire team. Just
See, I was
clarification.
confused again.
It's alright, I'm doing my best. I'm
you,
gonna try
Jasper.
to be like super clear about it. We should give them another name.
The D? Can we just call him the D from now on?
Yeah, we'll call him the D, and
'Cause
then
you
Dire
know,
will just
for
be Dire.
newcomers, they'll just see the D up there and they'll know. The D.
Nice. I'm a big fan, especially
big
since
fan
I
of the
enjoy
D?
the actual D, which is Tenacious D. Like,
Oh, okay.
not like, well, you know that too, but don't tell anyone.
Venomancer is level 12. He's got that level 2 Poison Nova, and will soon have the Hurricane Pike as well, which is going to be problematic. It's a good counter to both the Sven as well as that Death Prophet. And all of this has been going on while the Medusa's mostly been farming. And that's the big concern for me, is that we talked about in the draft. It's like a big question on whether or not the D could successfully take fights with only 4 heroes while the Medusa kind of farms up and finally gets damage. Well, I think we're beginning to get over that point. Like at this point, Medusa's damage in team fights, it's not much, but it is beginning to be felt a little bit, and it's only going to get worse from here.
Yeah, for sure. The D have this really weird thing where the magic damage carries them for the beginning of the game. Like first 25 minutes or so, the Veno ulti and the Puck with the Earth Spirit, they all kind of come together to make you win team fights because there aren't like pipes, there's no mech, there's no BKBs. And then later on, Medusa does the heavy lifting. TCNC, probably dead here.
Yeah, probably. They're going to be able to chain stun him pretty well.
that
It
kick.
looks like, the kick might have just let him get enough time to be able to get off that ultimate. Now, they've got the TPs here, so there's no stun. So maybe they will only get MSS. In fact, if anything, Misery's going to be caught here. Actually rolls straight into Moon Meander. Is going to be able to catch him with the kinetic field. And so this time around, they go on the Venomancer. He may have gotten the Gale off, but it is still a successful pick-off for Digital Chaos.
Yeah, that was really close. I don't think CCNC had mana for the Gale because he didn't have time to pop his stick. He just like hit the Poison Nova and instantly died. If he got the Gale off, maybe it would have been enough to at least secure one. I'm not sure if TPing home would have saved them or not because they were pretty low, I want to say. Either way, nice little rotation there. That was like their whole team, wasn't it? Yeah, it was pretty much everybody.
Yeah, they brought all 5 down there. It feels like that's kind of what they got to do after that nasty mid engagement. Against Venomancer, Dusa, these kind of heroes require overcommitment. Because if you undercommit, you're going to be feeling pretty bad about it. Mason, he is dead. Another nuke from PPD. We'll take it.
That's a sad feeling. You just get like beat up by an offlaner and the support as the Sven. That's a true feels bad.
You know, I just keep on kind of glancing over at PPD's net worth, and it is truly amazing how he's managed to remain one of the lowest net worths with a score of 6-1-1. That's the dedication to the warding life right there.
Dude, you got one job, dude. Do it well. Gotta get in there.
Even now, he's got 4 sentries on him. He is making sure there is no Digital Chaos wards on his side of the map. Well, currently there is. They've got both this cliff ward as well as the shrine warded up, trying to get themselves aggressive wards so they can play on the Radiant jungle as much as they want. PPD is actually sitting behind Pycat, fearing just that. The Digital Chaos is postured up inside the Radiant jungle. They're going to try and kill the Dusa, but they are in fact rotating back over to mid and top lane. Looks like they feel like they need more farming time. And honestly, their big peak isn't going to come until the Sven has his Blink Dagger, right?
I would imagine so. It's going to be tricky, even with the Blink. Like, you need to get the kill immediately, right? Like, that's one of the biggest parts about Sven is getting that kill straight up. Xayah is going to die here in the mid lane. Yeah. This top CCNC could be the next target.
Charge coming up in a second here. Bulba's got it now. So they'll start the charge, and they're going to be able to bring Abed here. But you're right, he does have Pyke to be able to stop this charge, but they vacuum him into it. Really well played by MSS, leaving no opportunity for counterplay from CCNC. The sounds are going to wear off, and he could be able to get off his ultimate. In fact, he will with the Oracle save there as well. But they're not bringing the Deuce into this fight, so it doesn't really look like they're going to try and fight it too much. But Misery comes in, tries to get off an ultimate. He just immediately gets blown up by Mace, and the damage over time is there, but there's too much heals on the side of Digital Chaos. It seems like this time around, they're the ones who find the folly of undercommitment, bringing too few heroes to that Nova, and nobody dies from the side of Digital Chaos.
If they had Xayah for that, probably would have been a bit different, because that was like easily, what, 3 or 4 man coil and a silence with an orb?
Yeah.
Could have been enough to turn the tide in their favor. They probably still lose CCNC. PPD. Nice coil.
Get the coil out. PPD is going to try and run away from it, but sucked back in by MSS with the vacuum.
There's like nothing you can do about that combo, right? Because it's so hard to predict. Like, knowing when you're going to get vacuumed to be able to like force staff. Because most of the time, if you have Pyke, you want to actually use it on the Spirit Breaker, so it stops his charge and gets you far enough away to where he can't ult. But MSS is like stopping that kind of thing from happening by throwing out the preemptive vacuum.
Shiva's next up for DC's Abed. Mason does have the Blink Dagger now. So we're going to see if they go for like some sort of smoke gank or something with that and try and turn this Blink Dagger into a force of change, allowing them to be able to take some of these remaining objectives, because I feel like that's one of the big things. The D managed to keep their mid tower alive. It allows them to be able to control so much of the map as a result.
As long as they have map control, I mean, this game to me feels like it's more about that than anything else. Just having room for the Medusa to farm or having room for the Sven to farm on both sides, that's really what you're looking for. And yeah, sure, DC have pretty solid 5-man, no question about it. They have the mech carrier. They're going to have probably a pipe eventually on the DP, even though, like you said, right now she has opted to get that plate mail, even changing up the itemization a bit more, now looking like he's going to backtrack for the Octarine. But you're going to have those teamfight items where the D don't really have it. Like, they have the puck off lane instead. So they're not going to have that mech, they're not going to have the pipe. So when push comes to shove, I still kind of favor DC in the long run, because these ultimates from Veno and the Earth Spirit are going to start to feel a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
It's going to be more about, I think, like, the D getting that proper initiation, like a blink, silence, coil, and try to kill that target. You know, at best case scenario, you maybe take out MSS before he can pop his stuff, but that's a tall order.
Both teams are kind of keeping their eye on Roshan as well. Now, it's not really possible for the D to do it. They just don't have a good source of physical damage that lets them do it quickly. But on DC's side, they do have Sven. Level 15, level 2 God Strength up, Mask of Madness, and this Echo Saber. He can actually do it relatively quickly, especially... Do they have a Solar Crest or even just a medallion anywhere?
No, they don't.
Not yet.
Normally, the Death Prophet would be the one to buy it, but I feel like against the Earth Spirit Silence and the Oracle Fortune's End, you kind of want Yule's really badly. And then you also want Hood because a majority of the mid-game damage that you're taking is actually magic damage. It's not even Fizz because the Medusa hasn't been coming to the fights that much. So I'm feeling like his itemization is pretty spot on. It's just going to take a little bit while longer for them to really reach that critical mass.
Now, Dyer smoked up here, but Zai does do it. He managed to hover along the hard sides of the map and managed to find Abed. This is a pretty common play where these players, they don't want to just TP back. They want to get that extra efficiency play. So they play along the sides of the map and just kind of wait for their opportunity to pop out again. But
yeah,
you can see people are beginning to adjust to that fact with the smokes and then actually running down the lane to see if the smoke pops. And Zai does so successfully.
We call that TI winning Dota Cap.
That is...
The sit in the trees, that's how you win TI.
Maybe they change the meta. Maybe it won't be the winning play anymore.
They're just gonna remove the side trees from those lanes. That's what's gonna happen. There's gonna be bushes there.
Are there any changes on the map that you really want?
I actually think the map is in a really good spot right now. I don't like have any really big complaints either way. Like once they fixed like the ES fissure pulling and crap, I was pretty okay with it.
Yeah. I kind of don't like the fact that certain heroes like Venomancer get to abuse this triple jungle triangle.
Oh yeah, that is one thing. Yeah. I mean, the Radiant one is definitely worse, but it's actually it's just straight up worse. Now that I look at it, it's too far away to kill all the camps.
Yeah, it's on a low ground as well, which is easy to gank. But then again, there are other advantages to the Radiant side. Dar off lane has a bit of a harder time with supports just being able to loop around the shrine and pop out this tree area. Just kind of kill you over and over again. That's the sad life.
I think that from the offlane perspective, it's almost just as easy to do it, even if you're like if you're on Radiant, because like no one really has a reason to go over there most of the time, unless you're like checking top burn or something, or going for a bounty. So I think that there's not much stopping either side. It's just that the way that the ramp looks is more scary. It's a bit more open if you're Dire, or if you're walking into Dire to get over there. But yeah, I see what you mean. It just seems like more often the supports are rotating from the Radiant safe lane.
Well, it seems that the D have found a way to be able to take Roshan for themselves nice and slow. They've just worked their way into the pit, and it's taken them a good 30 seconds to be able to do so. But slowly but surely, their physical damage does win out. They bring down Roshan. Digital Chaos none the wiser. They had their BKB now, but just a minute too late, really. Because I'm sure they were grouping up, ready to go for a smoke play off of this BKB, thinking that this is a huge spike for them, that like they should be able to just overwhelm the D with this magic immune Sven. But now, maybe not so easily. The Aegis picked up on CCNC.
Fighting into this is actually very difficult. They're going to go for the flank. If they kill the Veno first, it's still going to be a hard fight, I feel. He's just going to pop back up. They're going to try to find someone else, maybe Misery or PPD.
A successful scan on both sides. So both teams kind of know what's happening here. Misery on the high ground does break the smoke. They pop it, and they're going to run in. Go for the vacuum, immediately take out Misery, but CCNC has managed to get off that ultimate, and Pycat has locked him into the Stone Gaze. Now they just start poking away at Digital Chaos, but the Shrine is there to be able to undo a lot of that magic damage. There goes the Aegis on CCNC, and he's already kind of used everything he has, and Pycat's running out of power as well. He just doesn't have the damage to bring these heroes down after the Shrine usage, so Digital Chaos, their smoke breaks, but they quickly execute and overwhelm the D. It just seemed like that magic damage from the Venomancer as well as, I mean, I guess Earth Spirit didn't really get anything off, but as you were kind of talking about, it just faded away, especially when they're next to that shrine.
This is probably one of the biggest downfalls of the Medusa build that we're seeing right now, is that he does do some damage, but it's not so much that he's able to kind of bring it to the finish line, you know? The Veno ult hits, and the Magnetize I don't even think was cast. I think he just died before he got it off. Yeah, Misery still has it off cooldown, so he definitely didn't use it. Mason going in deep here.
Does manage to slow down Mason enough for PPD to be able to get away. Good kick. Keep that going. Now he has the ultimate on top of these guys. It looks like he's going to try and go for Mason. Unfortunately, the Yule Scepter not really well timed with the blink and silence, missing out on one nuke, but they still need plenty more nukes than just that one to be able to bring down Mason, especially with the MSS here. Managed to get the vacuum into the charge, and Zai almost dies purely from the cleave. Mason pops his BKB, and now with Surged Up is going to try and run down some of these heroes. Yule Scepter, he goes for CCNC instead. Now they have the Shrine, they're going to pop that one. Kinetic Field, Static Storm. He does manage to get the other side of the Kinetic Field, still going for CCNC. Bobo will bring him down. Pycat, right in the middle of all these heroes, was not able to get Mason. He was able to Glimmer Cape himself away, now gets a regen, and he's going to come back in the fight. No, Zai actually finishes them both off on the side. He saves the fight by managing to king down that regen and kills the Sven as well. and the D will walk away from that one somewhat okay with the way the fight went.
That was an impressive salvage, honestly, of that team fight, because it looked real bad there for a minute, Cap. That Medusa was doing 0 damage to anyone. And that's why we kind of talked about during the draft when we saw this Sven and how I felt like it was just going to be a strong pick even after seeing Medusa, is having that Warcry. The Warcry in conjunction with a low damage output build from PyCat right now just means that this hero is supposed to be able to be threatening. It's supposed to scare you. It's going to be like, oh god, this Medusa is going to right-click me to death. But that's just not the case. He just, with the Warcry on his team, no damage. Just, they don't have to even, they can ignore him.
15 to 21, 29 minutes in to this first game of the Dire versus Digital Chaos. You can see roughly about a 1,500 gold lead right now for Digital Chaos. I think they're kind of in their swing of things right now. Well, we saw the early game very much going the way of the D with all their magic damage. We're now beginning to see a Sven and Death Prophet hitting their item timings, kind of taking over the game a bit. But I do feel like we start going a little bit later, maybe 15 minutes down the line, and then the Deuce is going to be the one kind of taking over the game again.
I hope so, but I hope he doesn't buy the Scotty. I really hope he just goes for Butterfly, because he really needs that extra right-click damage to help his team in the fights. Like, there's Guardian Greaves on MSS and a full pipe. Like, that pretty much counteracts, what, like, all of the Earth Spirit damage at this point, some of the Veno damage as well. They need something else that's a heavy hitter. They don't need more tankiness. The tankiness doesn't win you the fight at this point. It's all about being able to output damage to get the kills. Because we saw how tanky PyCat is, even with just the items he has now. It's not like they're taking him out in the beginning. It's just they kill the whole team, and then the Medusa dies last.
It looks like he is going to be going for the Scotty. I mean, I would say there's even an argument to be made that the Butterfly would make you tankier in this game, just because the Sven is such a big source of the damage. But apparently, valuing the raw stats and the kiting mechanisms that the Scotty gives you, PyCat is going to be going for that item first before the Butterfly.
I feel like the D, more than anything else, they kind of went all in on one aspect of damage, and this is sometimes the downfall of that type of team. When you only have one physical damage dealer and everyone else does the same type of damage, once the enemy team has the proper itemization to fight against you, you kind of lose that window to where you can really like win the fights hard, because it's only a 2k net worth discrepancy, right? The D are only 2k behind, but it feels so bad because the Medusa just isn't punching anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, the last big team fight they took, they were on the Shrine, and the Earth Spirit didn't get his ult off. But even if he did, I still feel like they would have lost that fight.
I would say another reason is the fact that our Venomancer has died enough times that we're not seeing that transition from magic damage dealer to right clicker. You know, you see those Venomancers, and when they start getting farmed, they start going into late game actually hitting pretty hard, especially once you hit that level 20 talent. You've got, like, say, a Mjolnir or something like that to increase your attack speed. You're actually doing a lot of right-click damage as well as all that magic damage, but we're not seeing it here from CNC, in part because he's not level 20 yet, but also because he just has a Hurricane Pike and a Medallion of Courage. His net worth is definitely fallen by the wayside in comparison to the other top cores of this game, like the Sven and the Death Prophet.
Yeah, it's a tricky position to say the least. I mean, there's double pipe on DC as well. Like, they have one on Bulba and they have one on MSS, so... Where's the damage coming from, Cap? Where is the damage?
PyCat plants himself in front of this tier 2 tower and will shove away members of Digital Chaos, but I don't think DC are going to be shooed so easily. They're going to go for the glimpse back here. Kind of poking at PyCat. I think they want to see if they can force him to use Stone Gaze. And that would be a huge opportunity if they can get away to force the team fight once again with that on cooldown. But PyCat in no real danger from simple pokes and prods.
I don't really think that DC are feeling any real pressure right now. I guess the next item for PyCat is going to be like the turning point. When he finishes the Scotty now, so he's got that done. He's like incredibly tanky at this point. It's going to be super hard for him to get chunked unless he's getting hit by like the Sven directly and he gets a couple of crits. I guess one argument against the butterfly too is that if the Sven is hitting someone other than you, and you get crit, then the butterfly does nothing, right? It's you're just gonna die, and the evasion doesn't really do anything. But
yeah, they're
I still think like
I thought maybe he was gonna go for the Bloodthorn, but he's gonna go Daedalus.
the Sven, yeah. Actually, there's no Manta, but he has Lincolns, I guess. But even still, I would even say like if you get a charge, and you like break the Lincolns with a Sven stun and then Bloodthorn, it's pretty strong.
I mean,
but
there's plenty of abilities.
Oracle.
There's a lot of abilities on DC that they can throw away on the Lincolns. You know, you've got Thunderstrike, you've got one of the Spirit Siphons as well. The D are currently 5 top, 4 smoked up behind Pycat's push. DC, I'm sure they reading this way. There's no way Adusa is pushing that far, being by herself, so they're just directing MSS. He's pushing out bottom. Mid lane's decently pushed in, but which team really takes the next fight? It's still Digital Chaos, the one taking the engagement onto the D, right?
Yeah, I can't see them dodging a fight. Like DC are really strong right now. Like their team fight, double pipe, Guardian Greaves. They had like the DS has hit multiple man vacuums like every fight. MSS is playing very well.
And DC,
they have the Aghanims halfway finished on Moon as well. That's like super good.
DC was playing pretty forward, and they've got a big wave pushing in bottom, so they know somebody's going to split up. They know one of these heroes is going to show up in the bottom lane, defend that push, and it's a perfect opportunity for them to force a fight on any of these other heroes. Now, Bulba does manage to get a ward out and sees PPD, and that's going to be his first target. Completes the charge, no stopping there. He's going to be able to follow up with his ultimate and finish off that support instantly. Now they can kind of deal with Pycat in their own time, slowing him down with the Spirit Siphon, Mason just kind of ignoring him and zoning back at the rest of the heroes. There goes that Stone Gaze. BKB popped by Mason. Looks for other heroes. Zai is actually going to be able to control him up with the nice little coil. Misery actually gets over the tree. So Dire is kiting this out pretty well until CCC gets hit by the Stormhammer and brought down. Now he got off the Nova. Zai actually gets pulled back into the Static Storm. Unfortunately, he had a Yule Scepter though, as well as a phase shift. So it looks like he's going to be okay. Let's check back over to Abed, who's dealing with both Misery and Pycat at the same time. And Pycat's out of mana, so they're going to be able to finish him off. Mason successfully zones back the rest of the Dire and lets the Death Prophet pretty much solo that Dusa for the whole entire exorcism time.
Yeah, between the Spirit Siphon like never being broken, I don't think Pycat actually did enough physical damage to damage the heal from the Spirit Siphon. So he just walked them down like that whole time. Once the Blade Mail goes out, Abed fully commits, and then Mason really only has to worry about the Medusa, because the Stone Gaze is like his biggest threat in a team fight. If he BKBs and gets stunned, then his God Strength is wasted. But he decides just, oh, okay, I'm not even going to look at this hero. I'm going to go kill everyone else. And it worked out very, very well for DC.
Now, honestly, that was just a really well-executed game plan from DC. From the start, where they know somebody's going to have to deal with bottom. So they're going to catch the D kind of like out of position. And then what I really loved was Mason's read of the situation, and he just didn't barrel into the Dusa. He just kept the other heroes at bay, basically, and said, hey, if you're going to try and go to the Medusa, you're going to have to go through me first, because screw it. I'm not really going to do a whole lot against that Dusa anyway.
It's a struggle for sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
like how do you fix the situation? How do you fix not dealing damage? Do you just go buy a rapier at this point?
Maybe. Vacuum in with a double charge. Well played. DC gonna set up on 2 here, and Zai, his Yule Scepter just doesn't last long enough. With God Strength, they've already taken out that tier 2 tower and go straight for the high ground. So they're going to force a buyback. That's going to be the puck. Already using his. Mason jumped onto CCT. Maybe they're going to stop him from using that ultimate. They do. A big crit comes out just in time. And now Mason's just on the cleanup. He's on the warpath. He's going to take out Misery soon. Stone Gaze turns himself around just in time. Stops some of that physical damage. Oh no, he turned around. He actually got turned into stone still. So he's taking a lot of damage. He does have that Aegis, of course. And Abed does have the chase. He's going to be able to survive through this one a little bit longer with the exorcism going out. Pycat's being brought lower and lower with another vacuum Stormhammer combination. MSS is just lining him up for DC to knock him down. They're going to go for that tier 3 after diving all the way into the tier 4 territory. Dire have an opportunity to still rebuff DC with these buybacks, but Pycat's going to have to do it pretty much solo on the damage, and he just doesn't do enough. He may have finished off Mason one time, but how could he possibly do it a second time? They're surrounding him, trying to run him down, but he is going to be able to get back to the fountain. So DC go right back to taking those objectives, while the Dusa, in crucial seconds, has to sit in the fountain and wait for the full-out heal. Glyph is going to stall them up as they start hitting onto that melee Rax. Pycat has returned. They're going to be able to get the coil onto 2. Holding them in place for Pycat to be able to get here, but another vacuum static storm. This time the kinetic field doesn't latch, and they're still trapped in by that coil. Mason goes head, pops a BKB. What a crit! A timely one at that. Managed to take out the puck before he could jump away, and managed to take out another support too. Good kick from Misery though. Stalls up some of these heroes. They get to one of the last remaining shrines on the Radiant side, and Abed gonna be slowed down here. Looks like he's overextended himself, perhaps, as they throw Yule Scepter onto Mason. Kind of slow him down his damage. God's strength is finally worn out. CC&C just hopes to be able to catch some heroes. Misses out in the Gale. Misery might be able to catch somebody there with a kick. Does nail Moonmeander, but he's been sent back. Nobody from PPD's Dire team is going to be able to catch up. So the D do manage to push Digital Chaos out of their base, but they lost badly in that fight. They were forced into buybacks, lost their tier 3 and their melee racks at top.
There's a huge economic damage. Like the one Rax is whatever, because you have like Medusa on your team. You're going to be able to push the waves out all the time, no matter what. It's just having to buy out, being like 20k behind at this stage in the game, forcing your one core who's supposed to bring you back into the game to waste money on defending the base. It's like the worst case scenario, in my opinion, for the D. And now, I mean, there is a double damage. Even with the DD rune, he doesn't do any damage. Like, at this point, against the itemization of Digital Chaos, there's like a Glimmer Cape with the full Aghanims on Moon, the Darkseer. He's making his way towards the Lotus now after already having the Pipe and the Greaves. Abed's ridiculously tanky. I mean, they're going to go for a play because it's double rune spawn. This is actually the first double rune, so it's potential haste and double damage. It could be enough for them to take one pretty good fight. Let's see. BKB is back up on Mason. Here we go.
Coil on 2 from Zai, but they're just going to run out of the coil, and it takes so long for the rest of the D to be able to get here. The coil locked him in for a really long time. Bulba's finally here. They are going to be able to jump onto Mason. Mason's brought down really quickly. He's not going to be able to get any real damage out. Looks like Misery's going to die underneath the Static Storm, but the rest of Digital Chaos, see if they can actually hold with that vacuum into the wall. That is a beautiful setup. They can bring down 2 members of the Dire at once. PPD struggling as he's ultimate's going to time out here pretty soon. He'll end up going down. Bulba bumps him as he goes straight for Zai, and now gets his hands onto Pycat. All of this without Mason having a buyback. So it was a question of whether or not they could defend it without him, but now they actually both defend and kill all the Dire members. It looks like Pycat fighting up against this is just not going to win out against that Exorcism. Maybe he kills Moonmeander, but there's the Glimmer Cape. So he does manage to get away. Zai is the only remaining member of the D. And Abed's already made his Boots of Travel play straight into the enemy base. Goes for that tier 3 at mid, while his team pushes out the mid lane. Bulba goes for the charge. Whoa! Zai did not make that jump phase shift play correctly. Bulba actually gets the kill, and that's it. They call it.
Very nicely executed from DC. I think we both kind of agreed during the draft that their style was, you know, it's a simple way of playing, but sometimes simple is all you need. It doesn't have to be super complicated. You have a very clear plan. You say, okay, our Sven's going to get huge. We got this Death Prophet team fight with the Warcry synergy. They have 4 magic damage dealers on the Radiant team and only 1 physical damage hero. So we just itemize against the stuff that's scary to us, which is buying 2 pipes and having Guardian Greaves, and they just run at you. And then they win the game because you don't have enough damage to actually kill heroes. Yeah. It was a pretty clear victory, in my opinion. I mean, for a long time, Pycat was getting some really sick farm. He had like a 5-minute Midas. He was very stacked for a long period of time. I would even go as far as to say maybe the D needed to fight more in the early game, even having a Medusa, than they did. Because the longer the game goes, I think it's actually harder for them to win. Which is not really common when you have a Medusa.
Yeah, I'm always kind of wary of lineups that have a pretty big like valley right in that mid-game area. You know, because they peaked out in the early game. They had so much magic damage. They were fighting really well with pretty much only 4 heroes against 5 oftentimes. But that was naturally going to come to an end. And the Death Prophets, Fen, they hit their big peak, and they don't really fall off immediately either, right? It's not like you're ever going to say like, oh, Sven late game, yeah, that's no good. That falls off. You know, and same kind of goes for the Death Prophet. She's definitely still remains relevant even well past 60 minutes. So I'm always kind of wary of a lineup that has a big valley in that mid game, and like that's our weakest point. And we're supposed to get better at the late game. But even if you do get to that late game, what if you're at a huge net worth disadvantage? What if 60 minutes, like what we saw here, this Dusa, just didn't really get those extra items, and Mason always remained the stronger carry as the Sven, even though it was like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a struggle for sure. It was a timing attack, I think, from the Dire, captained by PPD, but it didn't quite work out this game. We'll see what they bring to game 2.
All right, guys, short break, and we'll be back with game number 2 of the Dire versus Digital Chaos.